I feel like I'm breaking the fourth wall because we're just cool. We're just really, because I had a question and it was relevant to.
Happy I get to see this side of being real also. So
This is what I put myself through to give you guys this amazing interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Love Your Business Mom podcast, where we teach you hard lessons on surviving a business with the warmth and brutal honesty that only a mother can give. I am here with Alicia.
hi Anna, thank you so much for inviting and having me here. Well,
Of
as you
course.
said, I'm Alice. Business side, I have a double life because
Ooh,
I have a corporate job, but I'm also trying to be better at being a freelancer and start my own. As a corporate lady, I do community management
mhm.
for a company that in which I actually studied for my engineer degree because that's my
Very
background.
cool.
I'm an engineer. And then as a freelancer, I do consulting for people who want to elevate their Notion game in their small business, medium enterprises, but also freelancer and content creators.
I love it. So, as you can tell, she contains multitudes. One of the things that I really like is that you dig into your obsessions. We crossed paths because this video came to my feed and it was her talking about Exo Kitty, which is an adorable Netflix show, and how it relates to Notion features and how the characters represent different features. And I was like, how did all these intersections come into one place? I've met my like aligned person. No one else has this many niche interests as me. And so I engaged. We had some back and forth about what feature our favorite character mean host should be, which was lovely. And I was really enjoying.
You made me change my mind.
I did. I did. And it really inspired me to be like, you know what? I can bleed more of my personality and myself and my interests into my work. And I would love to know what started your kind of spark and your commitment to bringing your obsessions into the world of like digital work. I think that's so unique and interesting.
Thank you. I'm happy you felt inspired. That's the whole point. I actually like my life with social media started when I was 14 and I shared my obsession of Harry Potter online. I created a huge community actually for the time uh,
Cool.
on Instagram because I brought the like digital Hogwarts on Instagram, posted every day, different classes and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It was very nice, very nice.
That's so cool.
I think that my whole journey of being online was always, it started being so linked with my obsessions. And then I joined LinkedIn when I was in my actually in my first year of masters, because in university is not so famous, masters abroad, and everyone was like, oh, can we connect on LinkedIn? I'm like, what is that, bro? I have no idea. And then I entered this new platform, and everyone was, I don't want to, but corporate and
Yeah.
and so polite and button up. And I was like, okay, this is not the place for me. Then I was like, but if here's where people can actually find me and work with me, then I have to post here. Otherwise, what are we doing? From my experience, what is more important about me and what I do is also how people can relate to me and my personality. You make this jump and you realize that there are people that have your same interests and obsessions, where you actually find the people you click the most. Because if you try to appeal to everyone, you will appeal to no one really, because no one will strong connection with you. But if you try to speak to your people, then you will find them. And I'm dwelling on that and I'm doubling down because I'm like, I found very nice people like you and many
Thank
others.
you.
And I was like, this is something that makes sense. It was not just me being weird.
You work in Notion. A lot of people, when they encounter tools like Notion, Asana, whatever the kind of productivity tool they're trying to use, the language around these B2B tools is very technical. It's like very direct in nature, but it doesn't actually mean anything. The people who aren't in that world, they're like, what does that mean? Those aren't even words, right? So I think even though it's just a fun way to express yourself and find people who are aligned, which is a valid enough reason to do it, I think what you're also doing, and I don't know if you realize or not, is you're taking a kind of complex concept or a foreign concept and making it easy for people to understand. Like, for example, okay, on the morning that we're recording this, she posted a Harry Potter spells, right? What is it called? Obliviate? What is the spell
Yeah,
called?
alleviate, yes.
Obliviate. Okay, so in Harry Potter, for those of you who aren't nerds like us, Obliviate gets rid of something, right? And in her automation, it's something that you do to essentially clear a task list, which is a very practical application. And because she showed it as a spell, right? She shows this thing in Notion that you might not understand, but then she says, okay, obliviate. Are you sure? It's going to get rid of everything. It's a powerful spell. You don't have to understand the technical whatnot, right? To understand that it's, oh, I have a task list and I cleared it. That makes sense. So I think you're taking kind of complex concepts and making them easy to understand, which I think is a beautiful thing. And I commend you for that. So just so you know, I think you're having a better impact than you might realize.
Thank you. Yes, that also was part of my, of course, part of what I wanted to do, because I started
Yeah.
on LinkedIn talking about Notion basics and with short videos. And I want to go back there because I think that videos is where I express my personality the most. In general, what also helped me realize that I'm good at is that I created this course for people who wanted to learn Notion from 0 to 100, let's say,
Hmm.
from A to Z. And they were like, okay, use talk like very basic. Like I understand, it's very clear for me to understand.
That's amazing. I love that your like warm personality, your ability to just break things down resonates with people. I am curious though, has it ever been something that's held you back or caused you like strife in your career because you are bubbly and you are so kind and you are willing to go to that level? Has that ever caused you a struggle or have things been chill and everybody's cool with it?
In general, I don't think it caused me struggles in my career, like in my work. Actually,
Mm.
I was told that some people came to the office to have interactions with me because I am
Oh, I
tidy.
love that.
I brought the energy up, let's say, even in maybe awful days. Here in Barcelona, it's hard to have bad weather, but
Mm.
sometimes it happens and people don't want to come to the office. But some of them were like, oh, gladly I came because then we had this nice conversation, whatever. My bubbly personality is a bit as I thought I was too much, and people made me feel that I was too much to handle, let's say. I'm very positive and outspoken and always say what I think. But then university brought me the people that were capable of handling me, if we want to put it that way. From then on, it's been a journey of like understanding that this is who I am and people enjoy it. Some of it, we cannot, as I said before, we cannot please everyone. But I'm very happy of my personality, so I think that's also important.
Absolutely. I love that. And I do think too, something that's interesting about what I know about you, right? 'Cause there's so much more to uncover, but with you being able to balance like the things that you're obsessed with, the things that you enjoy, this creative pursuits and a job, you obviously have some level of balance. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? But what are the things you do as a full-time worker, entrepreneur, also a person with a life? How do you manage like your schedule, your workload to stay and show up like you do, but also just to get it all done. How do you manage that? I'm sure people would love those tips.
I do my corporate job, I had to compromise because I got offered this corporate job and I actually didn't expect to be offered. And I think that's also
Oh,
why it's also because of my personality. Because I
mm,
was doing volunteer work, she had to go to maternity leave and she contacted me and was like, I would like you to handle the community. And I'm like,
wow.
okay, thank you. And so as I was contacted, I was like, yeah, but I would like to do my freelance stuff anyway. And she was like, we can arrange part time. So
Oh,
I'm doing
wow.
my corporate job part time from to Thursday morning, and then Thursday afternoon and Friday I do my thing. I think that the way I, first of all, my calendar is my best friend. And for that, I love to use Notion calendar because it allows me to
Mm,
collect many different calendars. It still doesn't work with Outlook. That is my work calendar, like my corporate work calendar. But another thing that helps me is to keep things separate and very strong boundaries on when my corporate job finishes and my job finishes. So not having my Outlook in my Notion, it's Notion calendar, it's sometimes better because Notion calendar I have on my phone and I don't want to constantly look at my corporate job things.
yeah.
And then the other thing that actually helps me, I have to be honest, I am overwhelmed. I think everybody goes through those times. And also, thanks to my therapist, we found a way for me to cope with this. I call it bare minimum week. So there are
Mm,
some weeks in which I have a very strong and painful period. So when I'm on my period, I'm very,
mm,
very down. So brings me down for the whole week of my period, and then the one after, because you feel guilty that you haven't done productivity stuff. I don't know if you relate with the sentiment.
Yes.
You start on your Sunday, you look at your week and you say, okay, what is the one thing that would make my life, my day worth living, let's say, worth thing, but especially it's better if it's a personal thing. So for example, for
Oh,
me, I know that Wednesday, if I go to salsa classes, that will make my week. And
love
so
that.
salsa classes is my joyful thing of the day. You have rested also.
Okay, so
And
bare minimum week. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yes, this is my way. Another thing I use to cope, like to handle, is to theme my day or my focus time, because switching between tasks, it makes me lose time. And this is also because I tend to procrastinate sometimes.
Yeah.
And so no task switching. It's like I know that one day, that is Friday, I will not task switch, film in the morning because there is light, and then I will like brainstorm for the next week in the afternoon.
Mm.
So these are my things, I would say.
I
And no,
love that. And I
of course.
Notion is like the umbrella over all these things,
Yes.
keeping them running. I get that. So, as someone who has two essential part time, very dedicated roles, how do you manage a third creative pursuit? 'Cause I feel like a lot of people have passion projects or a newsletter or something that they put out and they don't really think about it.
For me, the newsletter is this kind of a love and hate situation, because I would like here to be here and say, yes, I post bi-weekly as I said I.
Yeah.
But that's not true. I think that in general, keeping content out, it's the hardest part of what I do. I feel that it's the part that I am the most attached to because I love to create content,
Mm,
but
okay.
it's not the thing that maybe brings the more clients or money around. To be a freelancer, like full time, you need to be paid for what you do. So then when you come home, you're like, oh, I don't really want to film, and you cannot film those days. And that's why
Yeah.
the bare minimum week exists.
I personally am having a bare minimum type week and I don't have a lot of energy. So I'm curious, what are your best practices or favorite habits that you do to restore yourself? I find people get restoration and energy from different sources. Like once you recharge, you're so charged. So I would love to know, like, how do you do it?
For me, it's staying with being around people. For me, going to my salsa class, it's to interact with people without actually interacting with people, meaning you don't do small talk, you don't have
Yeah.
conversation, you just dance and you listen to the music. It's the middle of the week because I know that I need the
Oh,
boost.
that's
And so
smart.
it's normally on Wednesdays evenings where my energy level definitely goes down. And then other ways that I boost my energies, I live with my boyfriend on Saturday morning. So we go to do groceries and do our hobbies and stuff. But then Sunday and Saturday afternoon, it's chill. I feel guilty about it. But Saturday and Sunday, it's chill. But the way that it is that there are some weeks in which we just be nerdy and play board games and video games and stay at home. Recharging for me, it's going to the beach because I have the possibility to go outside. However, this amazing thing that is cycling without the pressure of
Oh,
going anywhere. We just take the bikes and go around. I'm a bookworm. The other thing is I love food. I love food and eating
yeah.
because it fills me with joy just to put my hands and do stuff and cook. Thank
Yes. Of course. I actually want to dig more into this because you're an engineer, you're a Notion queen, you're cycling with your boyfriend on the weekends. I feel like one of the reasons I relate to you is it seems like you have a lot of interests. And I'm curious, what was like your first job? How did you get to this point? Because I don't think we really dove into that. And now I'm really curious.
you. I was super sure I wanted to be an engineer when I was 10 because my
Mm,
dad is an engineer, and
uh,
he passed me through this passion, but never with pressure. It was not
yeah,
like
yeah.
you have to
You looked
be.
up to him.
Yeah, but I looked up to him and was like, I don't know. And then I discovered my master that it was 2 years
Mm,
abroad. I'm a traveler. I love learning new languages and trying new things. So I was like, okay. And the master was a combination of engineering and entrepreneurship, of course, with an entrepreneurship around clean tech and energy and startups that are in clean tech in general. My first thing was actually a job in my I was a groupie, I would say. I was a like huge fan. They are a startup here in Barcelona. I had the I was very lucky that one of my peers, like 1 year above me, he was contacting me through LinkedIn. He was like, "Hi, sorry, this might come very straightforward to you, but can we have a talk on how maybe I can have an interview or a
Wow.
in internship position?" My first job was in a clean tech startup as
Hmm.
a data and business analyst. I love the company. I love the vibe that they brought, like that it was in the company, but my role specifically, I didn't like at all. And my something else was like, okay, do I want to try something else in engineering, or I
Yeah.
want to just do this thing that I feel I'm passionate about, that is content creation? I will give it a second chance because I studied this for so much time. I need
Yeah.
to do something around it. Shifted to project management in a company, but the company itself did not align with my values. I am very, I would say, not in a bad way, but because I'm vegan, so there were work that's related, strongly related with meat production. I didn't know this when I entered the company. I knew only after, when actually some of my clients were meat companies. Then, with being a project manager, I started working with Jira, and then I think I also worked with. I knew about Monday. This company was also working with Google Docs and like
Hmm.
Google Drive and Excel. And I was like, okay, I know that Notion can do all of this stuff. Why are we doing something with Notion? And I left my job. I was like, thank you for these 6 months of trial. And then I received the call, and this girl contacted me and was like, okay, I'm going to maternity leave. I don't want to anyone, I don't want someone different that I don't know to baby that is my community. Like my first baby was this community. I want this
Yeah.
to be like still alive when I come back. And
Right.
I know you can do it even if it's not like what you're doing. And I know that you have left your job and you want to do freelancing, but do you want
Yeah.
to give this a try? And I started this, and it still allowed me to keep my freelancing time. For me, I have to be honest, seeing like this, like it seems such, even if it's weird line, it seems so straight. And so for me, it was like a huge identity crisis because I always see myself as an engineer. It caused a lot of struggle within myself, also saying, oh, but what if I started earlier? Still trying to, like, let's say, break this pattern of guilt because, like,
Mm.
everything I did still builds up. For example, I know that without my engineering background, I wouldn't have gone to the masters that allow me to do experience abroad in two different cities, Barcelona, where I live now. So
Right.
I think that anyway, everything builds up to towards a direction that you might know where you're going.
I think that's beautiful. It
Yes.
actually leads me to another question I remember now, which is you mentioned being vegan, you mentioned leaving a job because it didn't align with your values. You also mentioned wanting to freelance and being willing to take the role because it's something you would have done anyway. I feel like identity and like who you are and what you do for work is so complex because we have to work to make money. How does your identity and who you are outside of work, how much does that bleed into work?
For me, actually, I have realized that if my work does not align with my values, I'm just gonna feel shitty all the time. For me, the boundary, like the line, is not even a line. My values have to be reflected in the company I work for or the ecosystem I'm within. And it sparked in the moment I became vegan. I think that when I had to choose a job, my mom still keeps saying this to me. She's, you have too much boundaries. You are too picky. There are people that don't really care. And sometimes I envy those people. My company that I work now, they are very they are very positive. Like they work towards energy transition, climate change, and all of these things. But there are still some incongruences and some, I would say, why are we still proposing meat for lunch or dinner when it's like corporate? Why do we choose to provide stuff that actually, let's say, increases our food our carbon footprint. So the way I cope is that I just don't cope with it. And I'm like, either you do it my way or you don't do it. Sorry, bye.
I love that though, because I think the difference between a boundary and an ultimatum, right, is that for you, your boundary, and we're getting into therapy speak, but it's not like your boundary is, oh, if it's going to be like this, I'm going to remove myself, versus
Yeah.
like an ultimatum where you're like, I'm going to do this to the company. Like, you can't control what the company does, but you can control your place in it. So I think that's a beautiful distinction. It sounds like you might have become vegan for the environment. I'd love to, one, give you a second to talk about that because it seems like it's really important to you. But two, just to unpack, I'm curious, like, why, what made you do that, and why do you still do it today?
I became vegan around 6 years ago in Italy. I
Mm-hmm.
come from the south, and normally
Mm.
the south is not well renowned for big universities. It was, I think, just a bit before Greta Thunberg became a thing.
Mm.
I discovered the movement of zero waste. So zero to produce zero waste, meaning like no plastic or not
Mm-hmm.
anything that is not organic. I went to uni doing my best to produce less waste as possible. And I actually managed to do that for 1 year. And I think that Netflix catch up and it was like, oh, you might be interested in this. And they show me
Okay.
of how much meat consumption impacts the environment. And I was like, actually, meat is actually like one of the factors that pollutes the environment the most. And then Netflix kind of picks up on the algorithm. They were like, oh, you watch this, maybe you want to watch this and this.
Yeah.
And came into a video talking about the ethical reason why you should be vegan. And I was like, wow. I knew that this was happening, but I didn't really know. Because when I had around me, no one is vegan in my family. No one was even vegetarian at the time. Now all of them are. But I think that I had very few interactions with vegetarians, and they were like, you have to watch this video of, I don't know, animals in
Being
slaughterhouse.
murdered and stuff.
And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. If you see slaughterhouses video and all of this, you are faced with the truth that what you do in your daily actions, that is like 3 times a day, you are doing something in line with what you keep telling yourself. So for me, when I saw it, it was not even slaughterhouses video. It was like a video on YouTube, 100 reasons why you should be vegan or something like that. And I couldn't not even come to the half of it. And if I cannot do about it, why should I put my money into this? Why do I keep doing this? And this is something that like really clicked for me in 1 or 2 days. And I went from huge meat eater and lover of eggs with bacon, and for me it was really not hard. It was what really aligns with who I am and what I believed in. And of course now I also know that veganism is also good for your health, and I know that because my mom was very scared of me dying in a span of months. So I told her that's not the truth. And so there are multiple reasons why I stick to it, but the biggest one, it's selfish, and I would say it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And the second one is a little bit less unselfish, and is I actually know that it's also good for the environment and the animals itself. It's about humans should not feel above other
Animals.
or other beings in our earth. And so if we're not above it, why are we eating them?
Yeah, thank you for opening up when you talked about the process. I find that translates in a lot of ways because there are certain indigenous cultures in the Arctic, for example, that they'll eat like beluga, but they do it in a way I find a lot less stressful in my mind than like someone just slaughtering pigs for fun or to make a profit. Or even like I have friends who are Muslim, and the halal process for killing an animal is so much more ethical in my mind than like some of the ways it's done. So it's interesting to think about the nuance involved. Computers also are hard on the environment, but we're not going to stop using computers. Whereas, like with your personal diet, that's a choice you could make and you could still get the nutrition and be good. It's hard for me to move through the world and not use a computer. So, what I want to say is my lesson today, at least that I've gathered from you being vulnerable and opening up with us, is to do what fits. And I don't have a better way to word that, but I think, like with your choice in your diet, you're doing what fits. It fits your values, it fits your lifestyle, it fits what you care about. I think with business, you're doing what fits, right? You have a corporate job, you freelance, that could change. It could be that way forever. You don't know, but you're just every day you're waking up and you're like, I'm going to go to salsa today because that's what keeps me in a good mood, right? I think it's this way of living that's like everything doesn't have to be for everybody and nobody has to follow an exact journey just like yours or mine. I think we have a gut feeling that we all understand that we don't listen to enough. I don't want people to take that away from this conversation because I think your life could have gone a lot of ways, but you're done what you felt called to do and you've become a very happy, really cool, impactful person. What is an actionable step that listeners can take away to try to do what fits for them? Whether it's mindset, whether it's an action, what's something they can do one step towards that goal?
My action would be just pick one thing that you find exciting and make you joyful and do it just for the sake of you being happy to do it.
I love that. And lastly, the theme of season one podcast is family values, and not in any social or political connotation, but literal what are values in your family that you take into your career. And so for me, you've heard it every episode. If you're a recurring listener, it's honesty. If my kids do something bad, they know if they tell me, they'll be in three times less trouble because I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. In your family, what is a value that you've gotten growing up or even now that you take into work every day, and how does that translate for you?
I think that if I have to say one word, I would
Or it can
say,
just be a phrase, whatever encompasses the
hmm,
value. You don't have to limit it to a
I
word.
would say it's understanding or maybe compassion. Not really how
Mm,
to put it, but in general, I'm part of a family that is very close. Like we are very
hmm.
much friends with each other. We are like one for all. I don't know how to say. Okay, I would change my answer. So something that
Okay.
I realized I've taken with me is the uniqueness of every one of us. This is something I bring into my work life or my personal life because bring the uniqueness of someone else, first of all, makes them feel better, but also makes you understand them better and work with them better. So this is the theme that my family definitely passed through me and I on to everyone I find in my path.
Yeah, I love that. It's like collectivism. It's,
Yes.
supporting each other. That's beautiful. That is a lovely way to wrap this episode. I just appreciate your time today. So, when people are getting off this episode and they're like, man, I wish I could hear from her again, where do people find you? Where do you want people to reach out to you?
You can find me on LinkedIn if you want to hear a bit more about still obsessed and with my sparkle and my theme and my way of saying, but let's say more corporate things or freelancing things. You can find me also in my other hat that it's more traveler, vegan foodie, and in general more open with videos and cool stuff on Instagram or YouTube. And my Instagram is at soy.ali. And
Uh-huh.
my TikTok is the same. And my YouTube, it's my name and surname. So you should be able to find me. And the last thing is that on LinkedIn, you also find me to have a chat with me. So if you want to chat,
Mm,
you can go and click the link and just have a conversation. It could be around Notion, about system, about traveling. I would love to talk about traveling with you. So whatever you like, just pin me and I'm there.
amazing. Thank you again for joining us, and I'll see y'all next week.